Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I got a little home cooking. I'm actually repping the Detroit, where me and my boy here are from. Dominic is Triveline. He's like a little brother to me, but you know, he just turned 26 here in 2023, and he's right around where I was when I was 25, 26, really launching. He's a guy that really doesn't believe in punching a clock. He builds businesses. He is again, a very driven individual. He is an IFBB Pro. For people that don't know that, this International Federation of Bodybuilding, it's the top cream of the crop that you go on. And just to get your pro card is not easy, man. There's dedication. There's other sports where you can practice and then go home at night and then eat what you want or whatnot. Dude, to be a professional bodybuilder, you're on point, 24/7, 365. And then the discipline that my guy Dominic has here is outstanding. He's a guy that wakes up every day unemployed. And what I mean by that is he gets out there and he makes his own business. He gets people to interview him to either sell a house for him, rent him a house, because he is in the real estate business. And he's also a fantastic, personal trainer as well, which he's kind of phasing out of a little bit, but he's here for people that are in need. And he's the biggest go-giver I know at someone that's at his age. So Dominic, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Favorite color would probably be red, because my favorite car is colored red.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is red. The reason why I asked the question, one, I build all the marketing colors around the color, right? But two, it's like I kind of get a personality for it, but like I know you. Like, I know that there's a red side that you don't want to go to with Dominic, right? But you're so chill. I was thought you were going to say blue or something, but no, that's awesome, brother. So, man, how's things going?
It's going good. Things are kind of moving along quickly business-wise, and, bodybuilding's going well. So all things considered, things are going pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of starting because I met you through the bodybuilding world, man. It's kind of like a fitness family or fit family, call it there. In the mitten, for all you listeners out there, is Michigan, because it looks, like a mitten. And we just kept hearing at the gym, there's these two kids that are kind of coming up. There's this kid named Dominic Triveline and Jordan Janowitz. And I'm like, who the hell are these guys? And I had to find out who they are. And, you see kids that are that young and they're cocky as fuck, right? And you're not. And neither is Jordan, right? But you have that. Where do you get that demeanor where you're so laid back and such a, lack of a better term, narcissistic sport, right? Because everything is about you, right? Where do you get that laid back, humble demeanor?
It's more of just like, you're not better than anyone else kind of thing, just because of what you do. And I saw a lot of that in bodybuilding. Like, people that competed, they thought they were, the greatest thing ever. And in reality, the general public they don't care. So I was like, I'm no better than anyone else for going to the gym, lifting weights, even being a pro bodybuilder. I do this for me and no one else. So it was always just kind of for myself. And
yeah, it's bodybuilding. I'm sure you'll agree, because I've only been on stage a handful of times, but it's very subjective, right? I mean, 99.9% of the people on this planet will never get in their underwear and get in front of 1,000 people or more and be judged. What kind of feeling do you get from that, bro?
It's tough to say, because I never really fell in love with the competing aspect. I just love to work out. And then the competing was a way to show my results from working out. There is a competitiveness side that I do like of winning, of course, of being the best. And I've been pretty fortunate to kind of always be at the top in my career as an amateur. So definitely the drive to win and be the best is always something that gives me a good feeling, for sure.
Yeah. You come like me, you come from a lot of individualistic sports, right? You kind of grew up in Michigan in the wrestling background family, and correct? And Greco-Roman?
Yeah, mostly Greco and a little bit of freestyle.
Okay. And do you like like that aspect that you can put the blame on absolutely nobody but yourself?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it always came down to me. I was actually, when I was in high school, I stopped wrestling, but I played football and I was a field goal kicker. And
What? I didn't know that,
yeah, I
man. That's
don't know if
awesome.
I ever told you that. So I was supposed to play college football. I had a couple offers to play Division I football as a field goal kicker.
Wow.
And I actually turned those down to pursue bodybuilding, which has paid off. But even
Yeah.
as a, you know, a field goal kicker is the best example. It came down to me. I either made it or missed it.
Yeah.
Wrestling, you know, I either won or lost, and it was just me and the other guy. There was no one else. And
Right.
bodybuilding, the whole preparation, it all comes down to what I put into it.
Right.
I find the same with business. You know, whatever I put into it is what I get out of it.
I love that. And that's why you're successful at your age. You know, I mean, the squad, the kid's 26 years old, super humble. I've not met that many people at his age that outwork him, but he drives a Maserati. For all you younger listeners that are out there, he drives the nice stuff, lives in the nice places and stuff like that, just to let you know that it can get done from a humble yet driven, you know, point of view. And so what really, like, okay, so it's funny. I was listening to Lee Labrada interview Hunter Labrada, you know, dad, and because that's one of two families that are out there in the bodybuilding world, the Labradas and the Levas, right? So Sergio Levia, junior and senior, you know, and that's, you know, Labrada's the only one that is placed top 5, both, you know, father and son in places. So that's just amazing. But he was kind of a football player, you know, came up, he enjoyed the grind, not so much the game, right?
Right.
So what is it, but you still have a team aspect to bodybuilding. Who do you have on your team and what roles do they play?
You know, number one, obviously my coach who handles my nutrition, my training, supplements, every aspect of that obviously is the biggest piece, because he's kind of driving the ship, so to speak, and I'm just, you know, running the plays, doing what he says. And you know, anyone else that supports me and that is there for me during the process and at the shows, even people just telling me good luck, you know, nice job, things like that, those are all a part of my team. With
Squad. Yeah, I remember texting you while you were there competing in Pittsburgh and stuff like that. Man, did you hear anything? Yeah, you're probably like, Ferguson, shut the fuck up. I'll let you know when it's done. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, but what was it about bodybuilding, man? It really got you, you know, said, okay, you loved working out, whatnot, but was there anybody that got in your ear and said, man, you need to compete? Or was that just something that kind of organically came over you?
It just kind of came over time. You know, I started working out in my basement when I was 15, and I didn't go to my first actual gym till I was 17, and I was lifting there, and someone's like, you should compete. And they thought I was a lot older than 17. And I was like,
Right.
I don't know. It's like really weird. These dudes are on stage in their underwear posing. Like, I don't know.
Right.
For me. And then like, I started watching videos of it. I started practicing posing. I taught myself how to pose, and it all just kind of, I was like, all right, I'll do it one time. And of course I won. So I wanted to keep going.
Love it.
So, but it was just kind of a over time process. It was nothing like I rushed into or was even looking to do.
Right. You know, I'm going to put a clip in this webpage also, Squad. If you go down and you'll see Dominic, when you had the placings, I believe it was either the 21 North Americans where I think you should have won, or at least got your pro card, right? But Squad, his demeanor didn't change from the time he won to the time that he didn't win, man. Again, where does that humble, you said you only compete with yourself, but was there anybody in your past that instilled that humble and gratitude? Because you don't see it in people your age, Dominic. I'm sorry if anybody out there that I offended you, but were you raised that way, or is that something that someone said to you? Because it just doesn't always organically happen.
No, not really. I just always looked at it as like there's someone else out there doing better and doing more on a different level, and I'm not there yet. And that kind of goes with like, you know, bodybuilding, business, You know, I like cars and stuff and things
Yeah.
like that. Like there's always someone out there with the nicer car, the nicer house, the more properties. There's other guys winning the bigger shows.
Yeah.
So you're not always on a climb to the top.
Yeah.
And I mean, you may never get there, but that's what keeps us going.
Love it, man. It's the journey, dude. You know, it's
Mhm.
the journey that and the stuff that you're enjoying. I hear Squad, if you hear a little squeaky squeak in the background, that's Dominic's new pup, Enzo. Again, he's into nice cars, Enzo Ferrari, and you know, I can hear him back there. So just gonna have to deal with it because I got my pit bull laying at my foot as well. So Dominic and I are both dog lovers. So, okay, we're gonna segue in here a little bit into real estate here in a second, but and the reason why I'm going to do it this way is that bodybuilding pays shit compared unless you're top 5, maybe 10. And the thing is, I'm noticing, Dominic, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but back when I was younger, it was magazines. You didn't find out who won the Olympia until 2 or 3 months later, unless you had called in to a big gym out in Venice, California, or something like that, right? Everything is now, this whole social media thing's now. But I'm noticing people that are they don't look the part, they don't live the part, but they're getting all the money and sponsorships from these companies when they should be, because they're influencers, they have a lot of followers, instead of using someone like you, or not to say you don't have the stuff, because I know that you're sponsored and whatnot, but you know, what is your thought on these people that aren't really doing the work that these companies are getting paid when it should be the people that are out there grinding?
You know, unfortunately, I think that kind of fits in with today's society of people not wanting to work but want the to reap the results of it, and it's kind of happening. Um, you know, it's like steered me away from bodybuilding,
A little
honestly.
bit
Yeah,
passion on
because
it.
it's just like you're not getting paid for what your job is, and that's competing and doing well. You're getting paid for entertainment, pretty much.
Right. No, I appreciate you saying that. And that's
And
why Squad, he has segued his life into, and I'm happy to have been a little bit of a part of it. And it's nice that, you know, he reaches out to me every once in a while with questions. You know, you're rolling into this real estate game. Now you start, what date did you buy your first property for as an
I
investment?
closed on it in October of 22.
Okay. And how many do you have now?
I just found out this morning I got my 6th one.
6th property.
Yeah.
So, okay. This again, bro, getting on stage in your underwear. Again, I have experience with it. It's scary as shit, right? But now you're dealing with things with commas in it, and those you know, those numbers on checks and commas. What, first of all, why real estate? And 2, what do you see as your vision for the future with it for yourself? Why real estate, Dominic?
Real estate was kind of 2 major things that kind of triggered this. When I was 19, I was training a kid my age who was going to college, who's now one of my really good friends and who does a lot of my realtor work up here for me. His name's Anthony. And I was training him over in Kalamazoo. And I met up with him a couple years later at Novi Powerhouse because we moved over there. And I'm like, what have you been up to? He's like, I've been doing real estate for 2 years. I paid off all my college debt in 2 years doing real estate. It's like, holy crap.
Wow.
It's a lot of money. And he's like, dude, I've been telling you, you should get into real estate. So I was always kind of in the back of my mind. I always looked into it. But the biggest change was when I was 21, I went to, for my birthday, South Florida for the first time in my life. And I went to West Palm Beach. And you know, for those that don't know, I grew up in a very small farm town. There's no wealthy people. There's no mega mansions. I think the most expensive house in our town was probably like 400 grand.
Right.
So I'm land at West Palm Beach International, get off, and I see all these giant buildings, these mega mansions, all these nice cars. And I'm like, I've never seen any of this before.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I want that kind of lifestyle.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I don't know how to obtain it because I have no college degree. I barely got through high school, and bodybuilding ain't going to pay me millions of dollars. So
Right.
then I just kind of started looking into rich people and what do they do.
Mhm.
And there's like 9 out of 10 people they invested in real estate. And at first I just saw real estate. I'm like, oh, they're all agents or something. But you know, I later figured out they were investing in.
Yeah.
in real estate. And then that's when my like research started. And I actually didn't start doing real estate for like years later, but I was researching it all the time, learning more and more, reading books, things like that.
Sure. What is your vision then with as you move forward? Okay, because I'm a big believer in the people that I coach, everyone's like, I have this goal, I have this goal, I have this goal. I'm more interested in your vision, right? Because visions you can laterally move, right? Goals is you work towards that, done. Work towards this goal, done. What is your vision as you say let's say it's 2033, man, and you are 36 years old. What? That's weird to hear, right?
Yeah.
What? Just think, man, I'll be 60 something. So, but what do you see for yourself? Not only monetarily, but also with the rest of your life.
I see myself, hopefully known in Detroit and in the city of Michigan as like the real estate investor that kind of helped clean up the city of Detroit. For those that don't know, I buy all these houses in Detroit, not the greatest areas, clean them up, fix them up, and rent them out to people that are in need, which there is a huge need in the city of Detroit. So I do get kind of like satisfaction of doing that. Definitely in 10 years, I want to be creeping up on that 1,000 units of properties.
Wow. Nice.
I had a friend that did 600 properties in 8 years. So I'm trying to follow in his footsteps and what he did. Hopefully at that point, 36, I'm hopefully done with bodybuilding. I don't think I got another 10 years.
Right. It's a grind, man.
I've been doing it for 10 years already. So it takes a lot out of you. Hopefully married we'll be married at that point and have kids and be very financially well off.
Little Trivelines running around and stuff like that, man. That's exactly where I would see you. If I was coaching you, being mindset conditioning coach, I would be like, this is what I'd hope you would say, because that'd be easy to get you there. You wouldn't even need me. But you deal with people, like I'm sure you get approached all the time, man, about the way you look, and eventually it's going to be, wanting to pick your brain, right? But let's kind of slide back into the fitness world just for a second, because that's where you made your bones and whatnot. What do you think people's biggest blind spots are when they're looking to improve their health and fitness?
I think it's just ignorance, and I don't mean that in a bad way, of just like what overall nutritional health means and what health actually is. And I find this very weird. If we look back in like the 50s and 60s, before we had an obesity problem, our knowledge of nutrition was terrible. It wasn't really studied or known about. And now we have so much knowledge and so much studies done, and a large portion of the United States is obese. So I think it's really just ignorance of what health and fitness and being healthy really is.
Right.
And we also see in society that we're praising people for not being healthy, for being out of shape, which is sad as well, because it is not healthy.
Leads to death. I mean, you and I could get killed in, God says, hey, this car crash or plane crash, that's fine. But if he doesn't, we're going to live a while. Right. And it's killing people. And what I'm seeing a lot, Dom, is, you mentioned that back in the 50s or whatever, they didn't have as much of this ultra high processed food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's in squad. For those of you that don't know out there, ultra high process means if you're cooking in your kitchen, it would be impossible to make the food that's ultra highly processed. It'd be impossible to make it. It's like just Doritos and Oreos and stuff like that. That's so good. That's a perfect, kind of answer what you're saying, because people are just uneducated, ignorant to the point, and they just don't know why they're not making that progress. So when people come up to you and maybe approach you, again, we're going to stay in the same scenario. I know the questions that you probably get, dude, and I'll say it bluntly here. What are you on, man? What are you doing, for this stuff, right? But is there any question, Dominic, that you wish they would ask you, but never do, that you wish they would ask you?
Yeah, and it's all related to nutrition. I wish people would ask more about that because that's like pretty much everyone's problem that's trying to get in shape. And I always say, like, when I hang around other pros and top pros, you know, we talk about two things. We talk about nutrition, like what we're eating, and our training. We never talk about what subs we take or any of that because we realize that is such a small portion of the
Dude.
puzzle.
Thank you
So,
for saying that, by the way. It is.
yeah, I mean, when I hang out with Nick, I'm asking him how much he's eating, what he's eating. You know, he asks about me, training.
Talking about Nick Walker, the music.
Nick Walker, yeah.
By the way, out there. Oh, by the way, his coach is Matt Jansen. Got to give Matt a shout out as well.
So I wish, like, you know, more people would ask about that because I do get like teenagers and kids in the younger 20s asking me how I did it, and they don't realize I've been at it for 10 years. But they're just asking the wrong questions, you know.
Sure.
Not the important stuff.
Got it. Have you seen the movie? You're a lot younger than me, Dom, about double your age, but have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I've seen parts of it.
Okay. This is dude, he gets in a DeLorean, right? He goes back in time. What now? Let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly, man. With me and you right now. Let's go back to that 15-year-old that's working out in his basement. With what you know 11 years later, right? What kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on that, Dominic, to maybe help him, not so much change anything, because your life is pretty damn good, bro, but maybe help him shorten the learning curve, level up, or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker?
You know, as far as bodybuilding goes, just
life, baby, whatever you're feeling, man.
I just wish I would have learned to be more patient.
Really?
Yeah, that's something I definitely personally struggle with because I want everything now, you know. I want the success now. I want all the properties now. I want first place trophies now. But I would have told myself to be patient because this is a process.
It's a journey. It's a marathon, not so much a sprint. I know I've said it too many times, as I tell them all my coaching clients, inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? Yeah. By the yard, it's hard. And it's so damn true that, you know, it's hard for, especially when you're younger. The thing is, physiologically, your brain isn't even fully developed until you're 25, right? Physiologically. And that's just crazy because these kids are out there. And that's what blows me away about you and some other of your generation. They're actually getting out there and doing it because a lot of people, again, their brains are still mushy, like seriously mushy, and they're still building up and building up. And for you to like do what you did in the past, 10, 11, 12 years, it's freaking incredible, bro. And I'm glad that you were say, hey, slow it down a little bit, like what we call get your asking gear, like ask questions on shit you don't know instead of trying to do it yourself all the time. I love that. So, Dom, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and your death date. Hopefully it's a gajillion years down the road. But on your tombstone, how does Dominic want that dash remembered?
Someone to be remembered as someone that gave back, that shared my knowledge and success with others, and I didn't keep it all to myself. So I gave back and helped people out, and that I was a kind and good person to everyone that was good to me.
That's awesome. Even if they're not good to you, you just gotta write them off, dude. And it's funny because I think I've told you I make 2 New Year's resolutions every year. 1, I make someone smile every single day. And 2, unless I've hurt you, disrespect you, or owe you, I give 0 shits about what you think about me, period. I don't care, but always giving forward. And that's something that you do because you've even helped my old ass out with a couple things that I call it as, your advice and stuff. And so let me ask you something. You opened the door to this. Like, what does mentorship mean to you?
I mean, it's super important. Mentorship is someone giving back their knowledge to keep you from making the same mistakes they did. And I hope I can do that for someone else, when I'm older.
That's awesome, dude. That's enough said. I mean, my mentors told me that the more you mentor, the more immortal you become. Right. So people remember you, bro, on down the road. It might, again, I like to call myself a micro influencer. I'm not big on social whatnot, but I have over 170,000 subscribers to my email list. Right. So as long as I can help a little bit out at a time, that's huge to me, because they pay it forward. I make sure that they do. So Dominic, what do you think people misunderstand the most about you?
Oh, they think I'm just a bodybuilder. I'm just a meathead.
Okay.
Because that's what most people know me for, is just being a good bodybuilder.
Right.
But such a small portion of that.
Love it. What supplements over the counter do you take pretty much on a daily to help towards your vision and your goals? Give me some of the raw nutrition stuff that you're taking.
Yeah, so for performance wise, I use the Raw Nutrition product, which is my coach's part owner of the company, Raw Nutrition. I use creatine because that's studied since the 70s as a supplement that works.
Absolutely.
And then any supplements are going to aid in my recovery and performance. So I like to use essential amino acids. I like to use carbohydrate drink.
Okay. Is that for energy during the lifts?
Yeah, helps keep me going during my session. And then I'd like to take something that increases blood flow, because that's going to carry nutrients to the muscle. So a product with like a dose of L-citrulline or glycerol in there.
Yeah.
So like a good pre-workout for sure.
And that's even great for guys my age, if you know what I mean, with the ladies. That's citrulline, bro. It does open up those blood vessels, bro. Right. It's some good stuff right there. So then what, if anything, keeps you up at night?
Nothing right now, thank God. Honestly, everything's been going in a good direction. I've been able to sleep.
That's awesome, dude. Good deal, man. So what is Dominic's definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived is living life on your own terms, doing what you want to do, when you want to do it. And it won't always be that glamorous. There's times where you got to do shit you don't want to do, but you got to do it anyways.
Right.
My coach, Matt Jansen, always says, do the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And that was kind of related into bodybuilding sense. Like when you're working out, it's easier to sit on machines than do the hard exercises that you're going to get more reward from. And that kind of goes with life too. Do the hard stuff, do the shit you don't want to do, but is going to make you better. Yeah,
there's a great book out there called Eat That Frog. If you can eat that frog first thing instead of doing all the easy shit before, right. That's awesome. And squad, we're going to take my good friend Dominic through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to shine today, podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Dominic, you and I hang out quite a bit, man. So it's full disclosure. We're friends. We probably talked about a few of these, as we move along through life. But in the leveling up lightning round, you got 5 seconds to answer them with no explanations, and they can all be done that way. You ready to go?
All right, let's do it.
Let's level up, man. Dominic, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Do the hard stuff. Like I said earlier, do the stuff you don't want to do, and
beautiful.
It's gonna make you better.
Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
My dedication.
Love it. So you see me or even somebody else that's really kind of in their doldrums a little bit. And I know you're a reader, but what book might you give them to help them level up?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Ah, my man. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
The laughing emoji.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Dom, for short, pretty much was it.
Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
I was going to say, you better say that, mother. Go-to ice cream flavor?
Superman.
There's a sandwich called the Dom. Build that sandwich for me, bro.
Philly cheesesteak, provolone cheese.
Love it. Love it, man. Enough said. Is there any charity and or organization that you'd like to give your time or money to?
Any mental health awareness.
Thank you, dude. Mental hygiene's huge, bro. Thank you for saying that. And lastly, What is the best decade in music? 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s, my man. So Dominic, how can anybody out there, find you, brother, and get in touch?
Best place would be Instagram,
Okay.
Dom_Trivelilne.
Spell that Trivelilne for me, Dom.
Triveline.
Love it. And I'm going to put an ask out there for Dominic himself because, Dominic is, again, he's young. He's very aggressive. He's humble. He listens. And if there's any investors out there that are looking to make a pretty solid return that's protected and secured by real estate, please get with me directly. And I would love to make an introduction to Dominic because for him to get, his first or next 6 years or something, I've only did 142 investment properties. So that they've been under my name. Now I've been dabbled in other ones with other investors and whatnot. But 142, and Dom's going to blow me out of the water. He's at 6 in 2.5 months. So if there's any other investors out there that are looking to make a solid return, I'm not going to talk numbers now. We're looking to make a solid return. Call me at 561-440-3830. And I'd love to put you in touch with my good friend, Dominic. I trust him. If, we're looking at getting into some investment deals ourselves and some of the properties he's dealing with, me personally. So Dominic, if you don't mind, please leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, take action on, and internalize.
One last little bit of knowledge would be, I always say live life, like I said earlier, on your own terms.
Dude.
I really believe in that. I see a lot of my friends get caught up in the rat race of the go to school, get a job, 9 to 5, retire,
pigeonhole,
put your money in the stock market kind of thing.
Right.
They just kind of live in that rat race for the rest of their life. And I never hamster wheel, so to speak. And I never really believed in that. It just didn't sound appeasing to me to, go to school, get a job, work there for 40 years, 9 to 5, and then retire if your 401k is okay.
No, that's the awesome advice to people, get out of that rat race. And squad, we just had a fun conversation. Really, really good friend of mine, Dominic Triveline, an IFBB Pro, real estate investor, real estate agent. And also another ask out there is if you're in Michigan, in the Tri-County area, even the Quad County area, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, Livingston, whatnot, and you're looking to purchase, you want a solid agent, let me put you in touch with my good friend Dominic. He reminded us that, don't so much compete with other people. Compete with yourself. Compete that dude that's in the mirror every single day. The results are going to come, but the work's got to be done. So while you're doing that work, enjoy that journey, he reminded us, as you're going on. And if you are competing, remember that there's other people out there that are doing the reps. They're putting the reps in. It doesn't have to be in any kind of sports related. They're putting the reps in work as well. Beat that dude in the mirror so you can sit up there and compete and make those people that are out there doing the reps your colleagues also, not just your competition. If you're into something, do a deep dive into your passion. That's what Dominic did. He just saw something. He's like, wait a minute, landed in West Palm Beach. He's like, dude, this is crazy. I want this. He did a deep dive. He got his asking gear and asked, people. I was blessed enough to live here in Palm Beach, so I was able to hang out with Dominic for a little bit when he was down there. His goal really is to turn Michigan around. And Michigan's been on the turnaround, but it needs these neighborhoods, the people that are having a hard time in this economy, to have affordable housing. So again, if there's investors out there, let me make an introduction to Dominic because he wants to help clean things up. He reminds us to be patient with yourself. Do the freaking work. That doesn't mean sit on your ass. It means do the work, but be patient for the results because they will come if you do the work. He's going to be remembered as somebody that gave back the knowledge that's given to him. Dominic stands on the shoulders of giants that are helping him to see ahead, and he's going to be that giant where people are going to stand on his shoulders as well. Again, like we say, the more you mentor, the more immortal you become. He wants to live life on his own terms. There is no clock to punch. My dude is like me. He wakes up every day unemployed. He needs to go find something to do, find someone to hire him, and there's no better feeling in the world, and that comes with confidence from the reps that you put in life. And lastly, but not leastly at all, do the hard shit first. If it's hard, get it done, because your day is going to feel a hell of a lot more productive and a lot more accomplished. And that's what my good buddy Dominic does. He levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. He's humble, extremely humble, yet he's hungry. He's earned his varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Absolutely love your guts, brother. I'll always be there for you. And I appreciate your friendship and for you coming on.
Appreciate you having me on, Scott.
You bet. Chat soon, brother.